welcome everybody to Second to None. Tonight's show, we are going to be discussing the NCAA March Madness bracket, where everybody landed, give some thoughts about if everybody agrees with how the bracket came out, who's all in it, who's left out. Not going to really debate a lot of stuff, just more of a conversational type show tonight. I'm Chris. I'm your host. I'm joined by my good buddy down in Alabama, Wes. Huge Alabama fan. I'm sure he's got some thoughts. We also have Kenneth, an Auburn fan, and George is an Arkansas fan. So with that, what do y'all think about the bracket? Do you agree with how it fell, and do you think there was any controversy?
Oh, well, I guess I'll start it out since I made the comment earlier in the week on Facebook. I think the bracket's rigged. I mean, I'm going to put it out there like this. And if anybody wants to hate on me, that's fine. I don't care. I'll take all the hate I can get. Vanderbilt got robbed. And I'm going to give you 3 reasons Vanderbilt got robbed. Okay, number 1. Explain to me how Mississippi State got to play for an 11 seed, and Vanderbilt doesn't make it in.
Well, I got 50 plus reasons that Vanderbilt didn't make it in.
Well, bring it on, Wes.
I agree. Well, that was an ugly loss. That hurt us bad.
Well, that's actually, you can't lose to Grambling. That's a really bad loss.
They're a conference champion that lost 7 games.
I don't care. There's 47 different conferences. They won the Boo Boo State Conference.
Okay, we lost to VCU. They call that a bad loss. They're a 10 seed. A 10 seed is a bad loss?
Nah.
Well, that means that there are 40 other teams that are better than them. But yes, okay.
And Southern Miss, who was also conference champion, that lost less than 10 games.
So here's the deal. I think Vanderbilt deserved a spot in, right?
Right.
I've always said this. I don't like the way that I think the bracket is – I don't like the way they do it. I don't think that conference champions deserve automatic bids. I don't think that you deserve a chance to win the national championship if you have a losing record. You can't even be in the NIT unless you're 500. But if you happen to pop off and win your conference championship, you get to go play for a national title. Albeit you're not going to win, because everybody says that there's parity. There's always parity. I actually read an article yesterday. Look, you're almost even money to put 2 number 1s into the Final Four for the past, since it expanded to 64 teams.
And without giving away my champion, I've actually got 3 number 1s in my bracket in the Final Four. So,
and that actually has happened 18% of the time. By the way, actually it's 17.6. The Final Four has been a 1, 2, or 3 seed, where all teams didn't go below the 3 seeds almost 85% of the time. So tell me that there really is parity in college basketball. That means 12 teams have a chance to win the national championship.
Right. And there are a few exceptions to the rule, but generally, if you're not a top 3 seed, you're not getting to the Final Four.
Yeah.
I think I agree with the Vanderbilt should have been in. There's several other teams that got at-large bids that I don't think are better than Vanderbilt, and that's not just me being a homer. That's just they didn't play the kind of schedule that Vanderbilt had to play. They didn't play Kentucky twice. They didn't play Tennessee twice. And I see Wes laughing because in football, it
doesn't feel good, does it, Chris?
It's weird. It's a weird feeling to want it one way in one sport.
Be there.
Yeah.
To know 100%, everybody in this group chat knows that Vanderbilt, especially the way they played the last 10 games of the season, prove that they are better than at least 25 of those teams in the tournament, probably.
Easily.
Right.
Arkansas Arkansas in any division not named the SEC or the Big 12 would easily only had 3 or 4 losses. And the other thing that I really have to appreciate that Reese Davis did in the show on Sunday, and Carl Ravitch and John Dykes both came out and said that Houston would not be a 1 seed if they played in the SEC or the Big 12.
Yep.
That's probably true because there's so much more athleticism that they would have faced. Arkansas is athletic.
Yep.
Alabama's athletic.
Auburn
beat them. So Auburn's athletic.
But here's the second team that I don't understand made it in at a 7 seed, and Vanderbilt didn't make it in. Y'all ready for this? This absolutely makes me mad. Michigan State.
You got nope. See, Michigan State, they get to be there, and they deserve to be there because the man at the head of the class there, when it's March time, you don't bet against Tom Izzo.
Right.
I mean, I understand that.
And
But
without saying the SEC is the best conference in basketball, the Big Ten and the SEC, typically the ACC, those 3 or 4 conferences are always at the top of the table.
Yes,
you're right. That is a true statement.
So I can't complain about Michigan State being in.
I mean, Tom Izzo has the second most tournament wins of any active coach.
That's an incredible stat.
It is. And, well, we're just waiting to reveal to see what I
The
did.
man has 53 tournament wins, by the way. That's two, and some teams, that's 3 seasons worth of wins for some teams.
That's probably that's more than our last 4.
Yeah.
So let's get into some of these brackets real quick. And the way I want to do it, I want to start with the number 1 seed overall, follow with the number 2 seeds bracket, the number 3 seed, and then the number 4 seed. So without any further talk about it, let's jump on and talk about the South bracket and the number 1 overall seed, Alabama. Congratulations, Wes. You guys absolutely proved me wrong. I doubted Alabama early in the season. I was wrong. That's an outstanding team, and I've been saying for 2 weeks that they deserve the number 1 seed.
I appreciate you're taking it on the chops there. I think the rest of the SEC deserves an apology because you said early in the season we only had 4 teams that were deserving of being in the tournament. We pretty much deserve 9, if not 10 teams.
Yeah, 9.
Yeah, I'd say that too.
And I was wrong there. At that point in time, that's what it appeared like. But since then, everybody has actually stepped up their game and really played some solid basketball down the stretch.
All right. Before we go into the South bracket, I will go out there and say this. I will go on the statement and say everybody already knows this. I hate Alabama, but I went and did some soul searching this week, and Wes will be proud of me. In this bracket, you will see as we unreveal it that I have Alabama going pretty far. But I will say this. If Alabama stands me up and kills my bracket, this will be the last year that I ever take Alabama out of 64. I'm taking it to the point. It is what it is. With my bracket, I would be fine if they lost close to the end of where I got them. I'll be okay. But if they lose this weekend, because Alabama does not show up to play basketball, I will never, ever again. I do not care who they're playing. And that's hard for me to do.
Okay, that's fair. There's a lot of people saying this. Polly Keene jumps in here and says Alabama's going to win it all. I don't think that's per se a hot take. I think there's a lot of people nationwide that think Alabama's got the stuff to win that.
Well, we'll see as we go. So
one of the reasons I think that we are built to win, as you watched in the SEC tournament, we've got two starters previous starters that are coming off the bench now. We've got an inside force like you like, Chris. Bediako is a beast inside, and he had his best game in the SEC championship. 12 points, 13 boards, and 5 blocks. Right. Brandon Miller didn't play very well, and he still ended up with almost 30.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And the good thing is when he's not shooting well, he gets to the line. He still plays defense and he rebounds. He averaged first, and that, not to debate, the fact that the NCAA did not make him a Wooden Award finalist, at least a finalist, is criminal.
I agree with this.
They should be ashamed of themselves. Go ahead.
I do believe that they have corrected that list and did finally put him on as a finalist for both Wooden and Naismith.
Okay.
I think
it got corrected. You're right.
Yeah, it did.
It did get corrected.
We've got multiple players that can take over games, that have big time experience. We've got a good point guard. We've got a number two. We've got good big men. I think we're built to win in the tournament.
And speaking of Bediako, the first time that Vanderbilt played Alabama in Nashville, Alabama jumped up to a 20-point lead and just played with us the rest of the game. And it was Bediako that actually led that charge to get him that big lead. He just killed us on the inside, even with Liam Robbins available.
Yeah.
So that I see your point about him being a force to reckon with.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see anybody in this South region pulling an upset?
Yes.
You mean against Alabama or just an upset?
Just an upset in general.
Yes. Yes.
Who do you think?
I'm gonna go out on. I'm fixing to go out on a limb, and I'm going with this. I have Charleston over San Diego State. I did my research on Charleston. Charleston's a good team. Yes, it's a 5-12. Everybody talk what you want, but at this time of year, it's a different hype. Charleston,
there is always at least one 5-12 upset every year.
I have 2 of them. No. I think that's the only 5-12 I have that's an upset. Yeah.
So I've actually got a couple upsets. I've got Furman knocking off Virginia.
I got 2 of them. Oh, Furman knocking off Virginia?
I've got Charleston knocking off San Diego State. And I've actually got Creighton getting to, let's see, the Sweet 16.
I kind of am with you. Creighton, I think if they get past NC State, I think they'll beat Baylor.
Yeah. And the reason I say that, we've seen them play an athletic team like Baylor early in the year when they played Arkansas, and they were able to handle Arkansas. So I feel like they've got enough fundamentals that they can get by Baylor.
I have Creighton in the Sweet 16 against Arizona.
I think they can get there. I think Missouri can pull the upset against Arizona.
Well,
if they can play their pace of game.
I've got Arizona beating Missouri. Mm-hmm.
I got Arizona beating Missouri.
I think it's going to be a whole lot better game than what people anticipated.
I do too, because Missouri actually the last week of the season, Missouri played Alabama tough.
Yep.
Granted, the last week of the season, Alabama didn't shoot well or play well the last 2 weeks. But I think again they've got some really good guard play, and they also play dirty basketball, right? Like they want to muddy the game. They want to slow it down. They want to play their pace. And Arizona wants to get up and down just like Alabama does.
So Wes, what you're telling me, off your bracket is you possibly have a Mizzou Alabama Elite Eight?
I think that Missouri will play Creighton, and I just something about the Blue Jays. Just like, I've watched them play a couple of times. I think Creighton is gonna get there. And the team that scares me as an Alabama fan is Virginia.
They can dirty up a game too.
They
They
want
like to
that-
play that slow
they
down
wanna
defensive
play-
game.
Yep, they want that game to be 50-43.
So,
Hmm.
everybody, here we go.
Well,
Here's where I'm gonna have the downfall if Alabama loses. I have Alabama in the Final Four, and I'm gonna stop there. For the first time in school history, I do have Alabama in the Final Four.
I do too.
And,
I do
and,
too. Mine, my South. Go ahead, Chris.
in comparing Missouri with Arizona, we know that Missouri handled Tennessee. They were able to deal with their athleticism. I know you can't do transitive properties.
But they handled Tennessee with possibly the biggest injury in the conference. Tennessee should be a 2 seed if they were healthy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
They had the worst injury in the entire conference.
that's true.
and I don't debate that. Liam Robbins was a huge loss, but I don't think it had the effect on us like losing Zakai Ziegler did to Tennessee.
So, Chris, who do you have out of that bracket making the Final Four?
My Final Four out of that bracket would be the number 1 seed Alabama.
I'm going number 1 seed Alabama. That's my Final Four. Wesley and George.
Number 1 seed Alabama.
I mean, look, I got to ride
Alabama.
this fucking train as far as it'll go, guys.
Right?
All right. So it's a
I don't see. The thing is, I don't see a path for anybody else to get to the Final Four besides Alabama out of the South. I don't. I got San Diego State pulling it out over Virginia, and then it'll be Alabama and San Diego State. Alabama then plays Baylor, and Alabama and Marquette in the who will play each other in the Final Four.
Well, we ain't made it to that bracket yet,
That's what
so
I've got.
hold that up. We ain't made it to the South yet. I mean, East
I'm,
yet.
I'm jumping ahead. My bad.
Okay. Now that we got the South bracket talked about, we're going to go to the Midwest where Houston kind of surprised everybody in the country and landed a number 2 seed.
You mean the number 1?
No, they got a 1
They're the number 1 seed in the bracket, but
They got
number
1.
2 seed overall.
overall. Yeah.
I got what you're saying now.
Oh, overall.
All right.
Well, no, I don't think it was really a surprise because here's the deal: they did go 31-3, right?
Right.
And one of their 3 losses is to Alabama.
Right.
That is true.
Okay, so
Mhm.
you couldn't give it to Kansas, who, by the way, going into their tournament was projected to get the 1 overall and got blown out by Texas in the finals.
Right.
Which, by the way, if Texas doesn't hire that coach, shame on them.
Great.
I think they should hire him too, but some of the national experts, so to speak, are saying that they would be making a huge mistake if they do. I just don't agree with that assessment at all. They have played lights out basketball under him.
All right. So in the Midwest, I do have a major upset in that bracket. And I'm going on stats. Okay, everybody says no. Yeah, well, I'm going on stats. I'm going to be honest with you. I have Texas going out. Right out the gate to Colgate. Reason why is they are the number 1 most percentage of making 3-pointers in a game at 56 point something. And also, they are the most the most precision offense in the nation. Their defense is a little lack, but
Hey, real quick, can you tell me one team that Colgate beat this year?
no, I just did my homework when this.
Can you tell me what conference Colgate's in?
No, I just did my homework when the bracket come out. There's a lot in this bracket. I did my homework on. Hold on, let me
You
get.
didn't do very much homework, though, did you?
Hey, I did enough to know that if they shoot 45% of their threes against Texas, Texas will be beat.
Dude, if
They
any
act-
team hits 45% of their threes, the other team's
But-
going to lose.
Wesley, they're averaging 56% of their threes a game.
Look, let me show you what Colgate's good at.
I don't
Play my
care.
team.
That's
That's what they're good at.
I went with my gut there. I went because
And I went with my mouth. Colgate's bad.
it's okay. We'll see if I'm right or if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I will tell you this though. If Texas wins, they're done in the round of 32. And I'm going to tell you why.
Because
Are you-
A&M's going to beat that ass.
A&M is going to beat them.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go on record to say this. I have A&M in the Sweet 16 against Xavier. And I have Xavier beating them.
I'm
But
calling an upset in this bracket, by the way, because I actually live in Georgia, and I know the AD personally. He worked for us at Alabama. His son actually was the number one
I know where he's going.
player in America in college football, and he's playing in College Station. I'm picking Kennesaw State to win against Xavier,
Ooh.
just because I am going to be a homer, and I know someone that works for the school.
So let's talk about a game. Let's talk about a game in the Midwest. Auburn and Iowa. Can Auburn beat them? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Auburn beats Iowa. Let's go to the game. This is what has me torn. Because down in my blood, I bleed orange and blue. Can
That's
Auburn beat?
ugly blood.
Hey, it's okay though, Wesley. Can Auburn beat Houston? In
Nope.
my mind, yes.
Nope.
In my mind, yes.
In
But
your mind, Auburn's probably a good school too.
yeah, you hush over there, Wesley. Anyway, but I do have Auburn losing to Houston in that bracket, but I do not have Houston as the number 1 seed.
I don't
the
have
final.
Houston coming all the way out because
Nope.
my my team that beats Houston, I think Miami beats Houston.
So you think Miami beats Indiana?
I do.
I thought Indiana beating Miami.
I think Miami cruises, and Miami. I'm picking Miami to go to the Elite Eight.
Okay.
I got. Okay. Well,
I've got a couple here.
okay.
I think Miami plays Texas A&M. It's a rematch in shitty offenses of college football this past year, and I think Texas A&M makes it to the Final Four.
Wow.
So I was born and raised in Iowa.
Yep.
Grew up a Hawkeye fan, and I'm showing a little bit of homerism here because of that. I've got Iowa. Every year they've got a post player, a big white post player
A big slow white boy.
that comes out shooting threes like they're going out of style. I got them knocking off Auburn. I've got Iowa State beating the winner of Mississippi State and Pitt.
I called that one. Yes.
I've got
agree.
Iowa State matching up with Texas A&M, who knocks out Texas. In my Elite Eight, I've got Houston and Texas A&M.
Did they just put every slow white school in the Midwest? Indiana, Iowa, Xavier, Northern Kentucky. I'm like, what are we doing here, guys?
So I will tell y'all, I
Now,
have.
Chris, the only thing I have to say real quick about, yes, what you're saying about Iowa is true, but you can insert Iowa/Purdue every year, and they are not. And every year, they are not getting past the Sweet 16 if they get to the Sweet 16.
Right.
Every year, because you know what? Let's just call it what it is. What have we said about the SEC? They're the most athletic, right?
Yep.
Miami's super athletic. Houston, super athletic.
Yep.
You're not getting past the athletes.
And I've got Houston and Texas A&M in the final there. I've got Houston moving on to the Final Four.
I've got Xavier coming out and going to the Final Four and beating Houston. I have Xavier beating Texas A&M as a 3 seed. I don't see how. So both of y'all are saying that this is the first year in 60 something years that we put not a 1, 2, and 3 in the Final Four.
Well, no, there's been.
No, there hasn't.
Yes, there has.
Not below a 5 seed. It's never happened. You got a 7 seed going into the Final Four this year, is what you're telling me.
So you might want to go back and look because I'm
North
pretty
Carolina State was a 10 seed.
Oh,
and
yeah,
Vi-
okay, I
and
forgot about
Villanova-
that.
So was Villanova, and UConn was an 8 seed when they won the damn thing.
I just don't see an A&M doing it. Sorry. But we'll see. That's why we do it.
Next, we'll go to the number 3 national seed over there in the West bracket in Kansas. Do you see any upsets happening there?
Yes. VCU takes out St. Mary. I'm riding them. If you remember a couple years ago, they was a 12 seed, and if I'm not mistaken, they went to the Elite 8, did they not?
Yeah, but this VCU.
That was a long time ago, and
I'm not saying they're going to go that far, but I do have them winning their first.
Right.
I have them going out in the round of 32 to UConn. So.
Is it just me, or does this seem like the weakest bracket? Somehow, did Kansas get rewarded for?
I mean, you got Kansas, UCLA, and Gonzaga in there. That's pretty difficult right there.
Well, here's what I got. I got Gonzaga playing UCLA in the Sweet 16 with Gonzaga winning. I've got Kansas going to the Elite 8 with Gonzaga, and I have Kansas in the Final Four. To me, that's the easiest bracket out of all 4 of them. They've got the easiest path in my opinion.
I do think that Kansas has an easier path than most. And same with UCLA. That I just don't see. While Gonzaga is really, really good, I just don't see them being athletic enough to take out UCLA. I don't see UConn is an excellent basketball team, but I just don't see them being good enough to beat Kansas. So getting to the Elite 8.
They beat Alabama.
UConn did.
They
UConn
did.
beat Alabama.
They did.
Okay. I was not aware.
That was early in the season, and so did Gonzaga.
But hold on, Wesley. Didn't UConn lose to?
UConn lost several games in a row, but
I was just to throw a school out there at you. Didn't UConn lose to? Wasn't it Mississippi State? It was another SEC school that beat them.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, because I think they lost. They beat Alabama and then lost to another one. But the thing is, right now I just don't see it. I'm sorry, I don't see UConn doing it.
I mean, Arkansas. Here's the deal: Arkansas plays hell in the tournament. Eric Musselman is a monster when it comes to getting those kids ready to play, and they play, and they're athletic, and it kind of reminds me of the old Nolan days, 40 minutes of hell, right?
Yeah.
Are you willing to take Arkansas and all those freshmen against a deep, experienced Kansas lineup?
So let me ask you a question: when Alabama steps on the floor, who's the best player in America?
Brandon Miller.
What year in school is he?
Freshman.
There we go. These kids play so much AAU ball now. Being a freshman isn't the same as being a freshman in 1995, Chris. These kids come in and they played more basketball than half these kids in college have played.
You got a point.
Right. Valid point.
I'll take Arkansas in the upset. Woo pig suey, baby. Let's go.
So
for me personally, I have Kansas and UCLA in the Elite 8 with Kansas actually moving on.
I think Gonzaga chokes like they normally do. I'm going to pick UCLA. Let's see, plays Northwestern. UCLA is going to move on there. They'll end up against Gonzaga. They'll beat them because both of those schools have no bit. This isn't 1995, and John Wooden sure as hell isn't walking out of that door anytime soon. So, I think they'll get to the Elite Eight and then get beat by. I'm going Homer. I'm going Arkansas, A&M, Alabama. I'm putting 3 teams from the SEC in the
Okay.
in the Final Four. And you know what? My upset, the one true blue blood that makes it in the next to segue into the next region. I think in Coach K's first season gone, Duke makes it to the Final Four and plays Alabama.
Okay. That's an interesting take right there, because Purdue being the number 1 seed in the East is number 4 seed overall. This is the one bracket that I don't have a number 1 seed going to the Final Four. And actually, you mentioned Duke, and I'm just going to say I have one of the biggest upsets of the tournament in that bracket.
I got a couple.
Louisiana over Tennessee.
I actually did pick that one, but that's
Yes,
not the biggest for
too.
me. The biggest for me is Oral Roberts, that gave everybody business. The last 2 years have been giving everybody business. They finally got a favorable matchup style-wise, and I think that they can hang with Duke and possibly beat them.
So here's the thing. If you'd have told me that 2 months ago when it was really cold outside, I'd have said yes. But, dude, if you've watched Duke play over the last month, Duke is one of the best teams in America right now.
Yeah, they are playing like that.
So
and they just won the ACC.
Here's a matchup that I want to bring up in this bracket since we're talking about it. I got Memphis beating Florida Atlantic. Memphis is probably one of the hottest teams out there right now. The best 8 seed out there right now. We'll go that far and say. Purdue beats the winner of Texas Southern and Dickerson. That's a pretty much given. Here's where I drew a line and had to dig deep. I have Purdue and Memphis in the second round. I wanted to say Memphis won, but I did pick Purdue to win. It's going to be a slobber knocker game. It's not going to be a blowout. It's probably going to be maybe an overtime game. I would go that far to say, but it's going to be a good game.
I've actually got Memphis winning that game.
I do too.
Kendrick Davis. I'm jumping on the train.
Yeah, I picked Purdue to win that one. It's a throw-up game.
I got Duke versus Tennessee, Purdue versus Memphis.
You got Duke versus Tennessee?
No, in the round of 32.
I got Duke versus Louisiana. I got Louisiana beating Tennessee. And the reason I'm going that is Tennessee's injured. And Louisiana, let's just be honest. You said it, Wesley. Chris has said it. I've said it. A group of seniors has just a little bit more experience. And with Tennessee being injured, I don't think they have enough firepower to take them out. Now, if they wasn't injured, it would be a different story.
And to that point, since over the last 3 weeks of the season, defensively, Tennessee has not been near as good as what they were early in the year. I don't think they've learned how to play without Zakai Ziegler right now. And I just think they're ripe for the upset. And
that's a valid point.
And Louisiana's actually got a big guy that can match up with Euros fairly well.
That's a good point.
Then with the Duke, Louisiana, I have Duke winning it. I have Duke playing Purdue in the Sweet 16.
I think Izzo gets past Marquette.
No. I don't have. Okay, let me tell you this. Talking about is I don't even think Michigan State. I have Michigan State losing in the first round to USC. USC is hot right now.
I'm saying Izzo versus Cal. Cal's gonna make a run deep because he's fighting for his life. He knows they don't want him there anymore, and he kind of wants to give it to the Kentucky fans and tell them to eat a big fat one.
I have Kentucky playing. I have Kentucky playing Marquette in the Sweet 16. That's why in Kentucky
That Q is a K.
or whatever Marquette. I have Marquette into the Final Four playing Alabama. A matchup that a lot of people want to see because it's two similar style basketball programs this year. And just so everybody knows, I've looked across ESPN's bracket, and to be honest with you, 83% of America have Marquette and Alabama in the Final Four. Just saying. Possible could happen.
There are a whole bunch of dumbass people in America.
I'm just saying. I mean, it could happen there, Wes.
It could happen. And a
That's why we
frog could
pick.
fly out of my ass and grow wings.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, hey, you're muted, Chris.
I forgot I muted it. This is the bracket where I've got some stuff happening.
That was the best 30 seconds ever, Chris. The most insightful take you've ever had.
So I think there's a 3 seed sitting out here that absolutely is getting ignored. And that 3 seed that I think is getting ignored is Kansas State. I think
good.
I think they handle Kentucky. I think they get by Marquette in a really good close battle, face Memphis in the Elite Eight, and move on to the Final Four.
Oh, you got K-State and Alabama?
You guys sleeping on Duke. Don't sleep on the Dukies.
So
speaking of somebody, I think gets sleeped on a little bit out of that conference that I watched play several times this year. Who, by the way, their floor kind of annoyed me to begin with, and the more I watched their games, I was like, you know what, that's kind of cool. I think TCU might be getting slept on a little bit.
That's a really good ball club too.
And they play in a tough conference as well, the Big 12. I think we'd all agree is probably the second best conference in basketball, right? They're very athletic, just like the SEC. And TCU had a couple of games. They beat Kansas.
They did.
They beat they beat a couple of these teams that are in here as higher seeds. So I don't know.
Sure.
But like I said, my Final Four: Alabama, Duke, Arkansas, A&M.
Okay. My Final Four is Alabama, Xavier, Kansas, and Marquette. What are you going to call
it? My Final Four is Alabama, Kansas State, Houston, and Kansas.
Okay. My final is Alabama, Kansas. I said it. If Alabama don't make the finals this year, if they lose in the Final Four, I will be okay because I did not pick them to win it all. Being that it would be the first time ever that a team from Alabama has made the finals. It'll also be the first time ever that Alabama has ever made the Final Fours. It took a long process for me to do this, but I did it. I know, like I said before, if Alabama loses Sweet 16 or before, I'll never put faith in them again. I just can't do it. With knowing that the talent they have and the best player in college basketball and the way that they've been playing, if Alabama does not make the Final Four this year, they're not destined to ever make it.
So here's the question, though. With the number 1 overall seed, is there going to be any pressure put on Alabama when they start having to answer questions about certain things that have nothing to do with basketball?
Well, actually...
Actually, that's where I've gone in the finals. I've got Alabama versus Kansas. And because of the side noise, that's going to follow Alabama into that game. Unfortunate as it may be that it's going to happen, it's going to happen. I think Kansas will be playing with house money in that, and I'm not going to say it's going to be a blowout, but I picked the final score to be 83-70. Close game up until probably the last 5 minutes.
Chris, did you spy on me?
Chris, could it go the other way?
It could go the other way.
No, I'm saying, could that be a uniting cry for us to insulate ourselves and use it as a battle cry, us versus the world, and to look out for Brandon Miller, because the team has played really well. Brandon Miller didn't play well the last 2 weeks, man.
No, he did not.
Right. And that could very well be the case.
And it's good because they get to travel, and they get to go lock themselves in hotel rooms. They're not on campus. They're not they're not at home.
I think. Go ahead, Chris.
That's a valid point that they could insulate themselves and be a uniting factor. The only reason I thought it could go the other way is just because of Kansas being an older team, that I don't think they would let it creep in that way.
Well, I got to say this. I feel like now, Chris, that this has been revealed, I feel like that you spied on me this week. And I'm going to tell you why. We both have Alabama, Kansas in the finals. I have Kansas winning, which I said that a week or so ago, that I have them going back to back for the 3 times. It'd be the third school to do it in 60 years. But the problem is, my final score of that game was 83-80.
Interesting. Good close
You
game.
said 83-70, which is close. So now, Chris, everybody's revealed. Who do you got winning it, Wes? Before I say this.
You really think I'm come on, you got to ask this question.
I know where he's going.
But you got Alabama. Who do you have in the matchup?
The odds are that we won't win, right?
Actually, the odds are in y'all's favor right now, according to Vegas.
Well, I understand that, but what I'm saying is there are 64 other teams in this, or actually 68 teams, which doesn't make sense to me, but I think that, like I said, this is the reason I don't love college basketball, right? What's going to happen is a team like Alabama, who has played a hell of a schedule, somewhere along the lines, they may stumble. And everyone will say, it's just like Gonzaga. Now, granted, Gonzaga choked every year. Now, the difference with them and Gonzaga, Alabama's been battle tested. And the one thing I'll give Nate Oates credit for the past 3 years, we've played teams on the road like Baylor. We beat them the year they won the national championship.
That's true.
We beat Houston last year. We beat Gonzaga last year. We beat Tennessee last year. We beat Arkansas last year. We played Gonzaga the year before. We played them this year. We played UConn. We played Michigan State. We actually beat UNC this year when they were ranked number 1, which, by the way, UNC is the first team to ever be preseason number 1 since the tournament went to 64 teams and not make the tournament.
And then, and I'm firing a shot here. I thought the Hubert Davis statement yesterday was aloof at best. He's staring down the nose at the rest of college basketball. I was kind of offended by what he had to say. I understand it's North Carolina and the NIT should be beneath you. I get where that comes from. But to turn down an invitation to play in the NIT and say the things that he said, I'm just not okay with that.
I agree.
Well, so here's the deal. I don't have a problem with that, because the way college basketball is now, it's not like college football where you need the extra practices and the kids are guaranteed to almost have to stay because they have to stay for 3 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it is UNC, and he's got to set that precedent again. Even though he's won a national championship, he's got to set the precedent that this is not okay. Like, you are the blue blood of all blue bloods. You and Kentucky go back and forth every year for who has the most wins. You had coaches like Dean. You had coaches like Roy. Like, Michael Jordan played there. James, like, you've had Jerry Stackhouse, your coach. Like, all these guys. I mean, it is a stud school, and the NIT is beneath them, man. And I'm sorry, it's like Alabama. I wouldn't have a problem if we went 7-6 or 6-6, and we turned down a bowl bid. The only reason I would want us to get a bowl bid is football is different. We need the extra practices,
and that's a legitimate point of view as well. And while we're here and talking about some of these old players like Jerry Stackhouse and Hubert Davis and the old coaches like Roy Williams and Dean Smith, I'm going to send an advertisement out for one of our sponsors, which is Row One Brand, and take a listen, take a look, tell me what you think.
Let's be honest, you're here because you love sports. We love sports too. And our friends over at Row One Brand love sports as much as we do. Row One Brand sells sports wall art, sports gift watches, and vintage apparel with ornamental designs created from real game ticket stubs and vintage sports memorabilia in their collection. If you want some vintage Golden State Warriors memorabilia, they have that too. It's a sports collector's dream website for anything sports related. Go over to row1brand.com to check out their great inventory. And when you use the promo code VSP15, you'll get 15% off any item on the whole site. That's code VSP15 for 15% off any item on the site. So click on the link below and go check them out. Row One Brand, America's best vintage sports art, sports gifts. Let's be honest, you're here because you love
Row One Brand, one of our sponsors here, absolutely fantastic items in their inventory. Go check them out. If you want 15% off, use the code VSP15.
You guys saw that old Sugar Bowl Alabama ticket where we won another national championship?
I did see that.
I did see that there. Hey,
I didn't see much Auburn or Vanderbilt stuff in there. It said vintage.
You're so funny, Wes. Hey, while we are on this, anybody out there that wants to be a part of the thing, I guess Chris sometime today I'll send him the stuff so y'all can get on. Actually, you should already have it, don't you, Chris?
I've got the password and everything. If you want to partake in the
With us,
second to none bracket challenge on ESPN, the password was created by Kenneth. I believe it's
Auburn sucks.
no.
SEC Fans 2023.
Yep.
And we'd be more than grateful if you would join our group and partake in our bracket challenge.
Yeah.
Can you guys send that over in the football group too?
Yes,
Yeah.
I as soon as I get off there.
Somebody please add me to the basketball group.
We got you.
And yeah, Wes, as soon as I'm done, I'll screenshot it again and I'll post it in the football group because Dustin asked me earlier if I would do that. And I told him, yeah, I would get to it. So I know Dustin's wanting to jump. Another thing, I want to put this out there. For all y'all jumping into the second to none group, please change your name from a bunch of numbers so we know who you are. And there's not a mix-up when the end of the season's done. We can say this person's the winner instead of having to put a bunch of numbers. There is a couple of people that's contacted me that says that it will not let them do it. Don't know why. I've seen it happen. So if it won't let you do it, I'm fine with that. Just if we post your numbers, we'll call you out.
Nope.
I just want to share something. I don't know if you guys ever seen this before. It's kind of funny.
I don't care if Auburn doesn't care for Auburn.
You guys ever seen that?
No.
Just type in Auburn sucks. It is the funniest. It's the Squidbillies. It is the funniest thing you'll ever watch.
Hey,
No,
Wes,
that's funny.
Auburn Ducks.
it's okay. It's okay, Wes.
Hey, I'm sorry that your trees died.
Hey, Wes, let me
I
say
saw
this.
them eyes.
Wes, let me say this much. I'm sorry that we put a Cam Newton jersey on Paul Bryant statue. Not really.
I'm not, because I saw what happened to y'all's ass the next year.
I'm just saying. So it goes two ways. We are
I
dirty.
think, I think
And
we
I
won a
will go.
national championship after that.
I will go
4 or
this
5.
far. I will go this far. We'll go this far. There is somebody in the world. I don't know who it is. I've put out there through ESPN and a couple other media sites to figure out who it is. There is somebody out there in the world that has Auburn and Alabama playing in the national championship this year. Whoever you are, more power to you. But if it happens, just saying,
Oh my
if
God! I
if
swear
it was
to all
if,
hell holy if that
if
happened, that would
if
be
it was
the
to happen,
greatest. That would be the greatest thing ever.
if it was to happen to where you had Auburn and Alabama in the national championship this year, considering it would be the first time for both schools to make the national championship, Auburn's second Final Four and Alabama's first, I would go this far to say you deserve to win the ESPN bracket thing.
Oh, absolutely.
They can give you the whole $75,000 because that is what I call crazy.
Well, guys, I have been offered to go. A buddy of mine, he goes every single year. He hasn't missed the Final Four in like 30 years. The one year I had tickets. Thank you, fake ass Corona. Here in Atlanta, in my backyard, I already had my tickets. But my buddy has called me again. He moved to Texas and is going because he's been every year. And has asked me to fly to Dallas and drive to Houston with him. So I'm debating on being there. And the one time I'm like, man, I better go. If Alabama goes to the national championship or the Final Four, I will absolutely be in Houston.
That's good, Wes.
Yep.
Wes, I will say this. As much as we throw national championships and everything toward each other, this and that, of who's accomplished what, you throw national championships, we throw Final Fours. It's all the same when it comes in the day. I do hope that y'all finally get a Final Four.
Did you use that with an S as if you've been to more than one Final Four?
Hey, look. Better yet, let me go out on a limb and say this. If Alabama makes it past the Sweet 16, that's an accomplishment.
We went to the Elite Eight, by the way.
What?
2 years ago.
Once?
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Once?
No.
What?
We went to the Elite Eight twice, and both times we went to the Elite Eight, we lost to the eventual national champion.
Didn't you
Well,
guys go when Robert Ory and all them cats were down there?
We did that too.
With Wimp Sanderson?
If y'all lose to Arizona in the Elite Eight and Arizona wins the national championship, I'll give you kudos, Wes, but I just don't think that's going to happen.
We lost to UConn. And then I can't remember who the other one. Actually, it might have been UConn the other time they won the damn thing.
2 years ago, UCLA got you.
Oh, yeah, they got us in overtime. I'm sorry.
Yep. And then they turned around and lost to Michigan.
Yep, they lost to Michigan in a close game, and Michigan played for the national championship, actually.
Yep.
Hey, Wes, are you going to 8A this year? It's off subject.
Probably not. I was thinking about it, but probably not.
If you decide to go, hit me up because I'm going. I just want to see what Alabama. I'm going to both of them this year.
I just there A-Day. There are too many what I call sidewalk alum at A-Day.
Yeah, well, I just want to see. And by the way, Chris, while we're on air, just giggles. If I can find a way, I'll see you in November, buddy.
Oh, you know I'm going to that game.
So what do y'all call? What do y'all call y'all's? Is it V Day?
Yeah, well, I want to know that too.
We just called it a spring game.
Oh, they're too classy and too uppity.
They haven't
Hey,
really
you know what
named it.
Florida calls it? Do y'all know what Florida calls it?
They call it like Valedictorian Day.
Do you know what Florida calls their game?
No.
Gator Day. That's stupid.
Can't spell Gator without gay.
I'll tell you what. Oh man.
So are either of you going to Birmingham?
I
No.
actually am thinking about it.
I can't go to
very
Birmingham.
hard. Very hard.
No, I'm not going.
Now, in Birmingham, are Alabama fans going to cheer for Auburn because they both play in Birmingham?
Ye-
Do they?
Well, I'm gonna go this far. I'm gonna go this far, and I'm gonna quote Nate Oates. Nate Oates come out with his big loud mouth, which I kind of doesn't bother me anymore. It used to, and said that if Auburn played Houston, he would make sure that he gave Bruce Pearl the blueprints on how to beat him.
Why
Now,
would you have a problem with that?
I don't have a problem with that. So, and he also said that he would be in attendance to pull for Auburn. Now, Bruce Pearl said he's pulling for Alabama. Whether they do it or they don't, it doesn't matter. Yes, right now the East School saying that, yes, we're going to support the other one in Birmingham being at home. I'm going to tell you this. I didn't pick Auburn to beat Houston, but if Auburn beats Houston, I got some bad news for everybody out there.
They're
They'll
going to
be-
lose in the next round.
No. Let me tell you this. If Auburn beats Houston,
They ain't going to
Wes-
the Final Four.
Wes, I'm going to go out on a limb and say this. I do not have it in my bracket. It would kill my bracket. If Auburn beats Houston,
How many limbs are you on? You have to, like,
Hey, I
He's
got-
got
I know,
branches
it's not-
everywhere.
your bridge is literally so big. You do know that going on a limb means you're on a single limb, and it's treacherous, right?
and this is treacherous what I'm about to
Your
say.
limb is
If
the
Auburn
fucking
beats
Brooklyn
Houston-
Bridge.
If Auburn beats Houston, Auburn will beat Indiana or Miami, and Auburn will beat Xavier to go to Final Four and play Kansas.
And then they'll beat the Lakers for the NBA championship.
No, I'm just saying. So what would you do if Auburn does make the Final Four? There,
Try to
Wesley.
shit a brick.
So Kenneth, let me remind you who's also in your bracket.
A&M
Texas A&M that has
And-
handled you with ease
and
twice.
Texas.
I have A&M. I have A&M losing before they get to the where they could see Auburn. I'm stuck.
Where they can see Auburn, because he's got Auburn having a chance to get where they can see A&M.
I got Auburn losing in the second round. I have A&M losing in the Sweet 16 to Xavier. I don't know. I just like Xavier. They're a good school.
So
Do you know where Xavier? What do you know? What city Xavier's in?
I don't know what city. I just know I've watched them play a couple games this year. And let me tell you something.
Now that
They
is
got
fair.
pretty good.
That is fair.
They got a pretty good big man.
The
just
first
saying.
game, one of the
I,
first
look,
Final
me tell
Four
you.
games I ever went to in my life.
Kenneth,
Xavier was in the Final
slow
Four.
down, bro.
who?
I
Who's
So-
Dayton?
one of the first Final Four games I ever went to in my entire life. Xavier was in the Final Four. It was when I was a teenager.
The only reason I'm sold on Xavier this year is I like the big white man. Granted, he can't shoot free throws, but name me a big white man that can shoot free throws.
Most of them.
No.
Liam Robbins.
Most of them.
No,
Liam
no,
Robbins
most of
is
your
an
big
80
men. Most 90% of your big men do not have good free throw shoot.
That's
No,
not true anymore. Most of your big men, especially if we're saying of the Caucasian descent, they have to be like Tim Duncan and they have to be fundamental.
So he's forgetting that Vanderbilt's got two big white kids. Liam
Vanderbilt
Robbins.
always has a white kid from Australia that like is just a big monster. And the white kid, speaking of the white kid from Auburn that was
He
a
wasn't-
monster last year.
he
Walker
wasn't from
Kessler.
Auburn. Hold on, Wesley. Hold on.
He
He
could
wasn't from
still
Auburn,
shoot free throws and he played at Auburn.
but he wasn't from Auburn. Do you know where he come from?
He came from North Carolina.
Dadgum right. And you know whatever. Let's
ain't
talk.
my first rodeo just because I don't jump on here every time. I still
Let-
love basketball.
Okay, so
I
let's
just,
bring
like,
this up then. Let's bring this up. You want to bring up Walter Kessler? Last year.
You're the one that
Cheating
brought
ass.
up big men can't shoot free throws. And
Okay,
I'm
but
No,
hold on,
showing,
wait.
white men that can't shoot free throws.
Okay, let's bring up Walter Kessler. You ready? Last year he had 260 something blocks.
And he
More.
ain't coming off the bench for y'all either.
Listen, more than
where's he
every
at
other.
today?
He's playing in the NBA, doing really good.
Okay, he's not part of this team. Why are we talking about him?
Okay.
I mean,
I'm not being rude. It's just
I was bringing him up to bring up
let's
Liam.
talk about Nikolai Djokovic.
I was bringing him up to bring up Liam. This is what my point.
Liam's an 80% free throw shooter that blocked 178 shots this year.
Which was
Tied for third in the nation.
third in the nation. But how many SEC schools did he have more blocks than?
I'm pretty sure he led the entire SEC on blocks.
I'm talking about just his blocks. He had more blocks as
The
one
point that
person.
he's making is that Kessler had more blocks than most of the schools total.
Yes, and so did Liam.
But here's
And
the deal.
Liam don't even know no defensive crap.
Chris, it made this point last year. The thing is, man, most teams don't play that style of basketball. They don't have big men anymore, so
Yeah,
they're not rim protecting, right? Not to mention that one of the most popular defensive styles is the slip roll, right? They play the slip defense. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to take charge, and you're trying to cut them off. You don't have a lot of guys that can block. Like, there aren't a whole lot of Kesslers out there.
Yeah.
I mean,
Liam,
and they're not going to be.
Speaking of that style of defense, that's where Vanderbilt benefited this year. Is you got Liam Robbins on the back end blocking the shots, but when he wasn't in the game, then we could rotate to Q, who played that slip defense and led the SEC in charge.
huh?
Yeah,
So,
so that's I mean, that's just not a style of basketball that people play anymore. And the reason it's a dying breed. The NBA doesn't play like that anymore. No, there aren't those big men. Like, they're just not going to be around. They're a dying breed, man. You got to be like Jokic.
Yeah. I still think Chris sent a joy down or something inspired on me the last 2 days.
Why? Because we picked close in the final.
And look, Chris, if you break down your bracket and my bracket from what you said, there's literally maybe 5 differences. Maybe.
Where do you live at, man?
I live like 15 minutes from Auburn. I live in Reeltown, Alabama.
Oh my!
Yeah, I live in the country, buddy. But look, I will tell you this. I still think Chris spotted me because literally, and I'll know come Thursday because I'll be able to look at his bracket online. But I literally think there's 5 differences. I think he spotted me.
So I'm pretty sure I had my bracket completed. I got home last night at 8 o'clock.
I had all mine completed minus the Midwest today.
Here.
I had my bracket completed all but the Midwest up to today.
Okay.
And the Midwest tore me up because it had Auburn in it.
So I didn't spy on you because I got home last night at 8 o'clock. Everybody knows I was in
I'm messing with you,
Alabama
Chris.
all weekend, and got home at 8 o'clock last night. And by 8:15, my bracket was finished.
Where were you at all week, Chris?
In Alabama.
Alabama. Bluntsville. It's just outside of Coleman.
I know where Coleman is. I own property there.
Okay.
Huntsville is by the way, just a little segment here for the two of us. You want to be a smart kid. Huntsville is the smartest city per capita in the entire world, not just the nation, the entire world.
That's interesting to know.
I didn't know that
I
either.
will use that somewhere at some point in time.
Roll Tide. Roll Tide, Paul.
So
Don't tell me you like him.
So for the people wanting to know if we're going to come out and do this again. We will be on here Saturday night discussing this week's tournament games. We may wait and do it Sunday night until the entire Sweet 16 is done.
Should we do a midweek to get into the games?
We can do that if you want
Could
to.
we maybe do a live broadcast while the games are going on, Chris?
We can do that too.
Hey, Chris,
I'm not opposed to anything.
can we, the normal podcast, can we do it, say Monday or Tuesday night, wait till everything's done? Because doing one Saturday night,
I kind of agree with that too.
Do it
Kinda
But
Sunday
we could
night
leave
do one
out-
midweek.
or
still
like
got
they
Monday
Sunday.
do.
night. Yeah.
One of us could have the TBS game behind us. One of us could have the TNT game. One of us could have the True TV that no one knows what channel it is. So you miss the first 8 minutes of the game trying to find it. One of us could,
Why can't it be simple like it always was back in the 80s with everything
channels.
on CBS?
put on CBS, put it on NBC, put on TBS.
Hey, who's winning tonight?
Do
Is,
what?
Is Mississippi State losing?
Are they playing tonight?
They
Yeah,
play
you
tomorrow.
got.
That's
They play
tomorrow, right?
night. First
No.
was tomorrow.
Yeah.
No, there's today's Tuesday, ain't it? No, today's Monday. Never mind,
Today's
you're right.
Monday.
It is. I keep thinking today's Tuesday.
Yeah, we may get on and do some midweek stuff during the games. Definitely be on Monday night instead of Sunday night. That way we can talk about the whole Sweet 16 and the upcoming matchups from that. And hopefully we can get some other guys on here. Maybe Tennessee will win. We can pull a Tennessee fan up on here.
So
I'd love to
real
see
quick, guys, just so now that we've spent all of our time on the men's bracket, do we all want to pick our national championship in the women's bracket?
that. Yeah, I got it.
I'll go first. I'll pick Go Cox.
I've got South Carolina winning it.
I got South Carolina winning it.
But the one matchup that I want to see more than any other matchup would be Iowa versus South Carolina. Caitlin Clark on the same court at the same time as Aaliyah Boston, and see which one is actually the best player.
Hey, that'd be a good matchup.
I want to see parity, which we will never see in women's basketball.
I don't know. There's
The final, I didn't even look at the brackets. I can pretty much probably tell you, Stanford's gonna go to the Final Four. South Carolina's going to the Final Four. Depending on where they put LSU, they're going to the Final Four. And the other one is a fight. You'll have a fight between UConn, Tennessee, maybe Baylor. Did I forget any of the players?
Iowa.
This is at 1995-ish. So Georgia and Vanderbilt's women are not good anymore at basketball because they used to be real good in the 90s. The only problem was Tennessee was smacking that ass every year.
Yeah.
That's because of their coach.
I do have some hope for the Vanderbilt women.
Hey, Alabama's women made it too.
Yes, they did. I was going to congratulate you on that. And Miss Carly Weathers, freshman at Alabama, always loved watching her in high school. That's for those watching.
She
That's
was the
Ryan.
She was
Weathers.
the Tennessee Player of the Year.
Twice.
Okay, I was about to say I didn't know it's twice, but she was the Tennessee Gatorade Player of the Year.
She was Miss Basketball twice in Tennessee, and committed to Alabama as a sophomore. And her brother is a starting pitcher for the San Diego Padres that was a Vanderbilt commit
That is
because
true.
because he decommitted from Alabama when they fired their coach.
And one of the other players that transferred in this year, who's actually played pretty well, is Jay Barker's daughter, who lost his mind and apparently wrecked Sarah Evans' car, and they're getting the divorce because he's crazy.
So there is hope for the Vanderbilt women. We have a young lady. She'll be a fifth-year senior next year. Jordan Cambridge has already announced that she's coming back.
I wish I
Oh,
would.
There,
Chris.
she has a little sister named Kennedy that played her freshman season at Kentucky this year, has already announced that she's transferring. They've got a younger sister that's the number one recruit in high school basketball, Jelani Cambridge. They're from the Nashville area.
Yeah,
So
y'all gonna have them all three.
So there is hope that Shay Ralph can turn West End into Cambridge Corner.
how in the teetotal hell did Virginia Tech get a 1 seed in women's basketball?
I was waiting for you to see that.
I didn't know that Virginia Tech was even a school anymore that played in any sports.
They were actually number one seed in baseball last year. Hosted a super regional.
They were the number 1 seed though. They were
They were the
hosted a super region.
They were the number one seed in their region, and they hosted a super regional, which they were top 8 seed nationally.
Look,
Speaking of that, does anybody realize Texas A&M wears turkeys on their head? I thought they were confused and thought they were Virginia Tech fans, and I found out why they do it. You guys know why they do it?
why?
I do not know.
So if you watch their fans, have you seen this? They have turkeys on their head.
Yeah, I seen it, but I was like, they're crazy.
Virginia Tech, right? Nope. They
They-
have. So if they get 3 defensive stops in a row, they call it a turkey, just like in bowling. Hence your bowling reference, Chris. It's the only time Vanderbilt's going to get any sports reference in this one tonight. But they call it a turkey, and their whole student section is wearing turkey heads.
That's crazy.
I don't understand baseball how they rank them because let's just be honest here. Auburn's not lost a series all year long.
You
They've
just
lost-
lost a series this weekend.
Okay, well,
Auburn
okay,
and Alabama just lost the series this weekend.
okay, but
Yeah.
look, here's my thing. Here's where I'm going with this. Pure Game or whatever it is, Perfect Game has Auburn ranked at 10th. Everybody else don't even have them ranked. What the heck? The
Dude,
ranking
you
in
got
baseball is
different-
stupid.
well, I mean, it's just
It's
like
stupid.
football. There are plenty of other rankings in football and stuff like that.
So
It's just-
what ranking matters in baseball?
At the end of the year, the
At the
only
end of the
ranking
year.
that matters is
Did you
who
make the
makes
tournament?
the tournament.
Okay, but how do you determine who makes the tournament, Chris?
The selection committee, just like in basketball.
Yep. They have conference. A lot of them have conference tournaments and have automatic qualifiers. SEC is included in that, but beyond that, they go with at-large berth, just like in basketball. They have a committee, and there's a lot of mid-major love on that committee. They'll put some mid-majors in there as pretty high seeds because in baseball, it's different than any other sport.
Okay,
can
so
have, you can
No, it's
have
not.
that.
No, it's not.
You can
Baseball
have
is the
that.
same as basketball because if you can get 1 or 2 pitchers,
Yep.
you can get them to play. That's all you got to do to make a run.
That's true.
Hell, the major leagues proves that. Just ask the Arizona Diamondbacks. They have a World Series because of 2 pitchers.
That's true. So but this is the reason I was asking that. If you look top to bottom in the SEC this year,
You're
maybe
probably
there may be 2 weak teams.
Dude, that's every year. The SEC in baseball is a gauntlet that you have to run. Even the shit teams in the SEC are better school. Like the kids in the SEC, dude, I'm telling you, the SEC in every sport, not named hockey.
Hold on. Don't go there. Hold on. You want to talk about hockey? Who just won the national championship in hockey, though, Wes?
It sure as hell wasn't anybody in the SEC.
No,
Yeah.
it wasn't.
Okay. Who almost won?
The Frozen Four.
Nobody from the
Dude,
South was in the Frozen Four.
We've never even had a team from our conference in the Frozen Four because the majority of our teams in the SEC are club teams.
Yep.
Auburn's team is club. Alabama's team is club. Vanderbilt doesn't have a hockey team, I don't think.
Yeah, we got a club team. And
Okay, I
in
was about to say-
2015, we actually qualified for the Division III national tournament, And because it's club level hockey and there's no money in it, they couldn't afford to go and they had to bypass the tournament.
Yeah.
That's
So,
crazy. That's
dude,
so crazy.
3 of my fraternity brothers at Alabama, from New York, by the way, were on our club team. And they were like, dude, because club teams sometimes will play scholarship teams.
Yep.
And, dude, it ain't pretty.
Nope.
Dude, just like, hey, I went out and played on our club rugby team. We played against a Division I rugby team. And I thought my jaw was broken.
That gone.
So, dude, it's no joke. And the reason we do that is it's Title IX and things like that, right?
Yep.
Because football, we use all of our scholarships on football. We use all of our scholarships. That's why, even in baseball, do you know, like, Vanderbilt only gives out, like, 9 baseball scholarships.
Yeah, I know.
I think only 5 or 7 guys get full scholarships. And the reason they get a full scholarship to go to Vanderbilt is because they probably were going in the top 4 rounds in the MLB draft.
That is true.
So
I mean,
give you
come
an
on, Rocker.
interesting story here. Dansby Swanson, arguably one of the best shortstops in all of Major League Baseball,
True.
took out student loans to go to Vanderbilt to play baseball. He bet on himself. Kumar Rocker paid full scholarship money to go to Vanderbilt.
Yeah, man, Kumar Rocker's dad was a football coach in the SEC.
Exactly.
I mean,
Jack
hey,
Leiter.
Let me put it this way, right?
Yeah.
I got bro. I played minor league baseball. I got offered for the University of Georgia and Coach Perno. You remember Coach Perno?
Yep.
He took Georgia he took Georgia and won the national championship, by the way.
2008, right?
Yep.
No. Coach
No.
Perno was there when they won in 90.
Oh, it was in 90. I thought it was 2008 they won it.
So they won in 1990. But they did play for it in 2008, I think. They offered me, because I got the Hope Scholarship, they told me that they would give me a preferred walk-on, and they would pay for my books. I, by the way, as a senior in the state of Georgia, which baseball is big time here,
Yep.
I hit 438 my senior season, guys. And I couldn't get a look from I got a couple Division I offers, but not like Georgia or Alabama or LSU or any of the big boys in like 2000. It ain't happening, man.
So
Oh,
what they do, Kenneth, you get 11.7
They get
scholarships. They have to be divided among 25 players, and nobody can get more than a quarter of a scholarship. So it's really funky the way they do it.
You can get a full ride.
Not anymore.
Really? It changed?
No player can get more than 25% of a full scholarship.
But they'll find ways to get you a full scholarship.
Right.
They will give you a
Letterman
scholarship.
Yep.
They'll give you all kind of other, like they'll put you on a track and field scholarship.
Yep.
Hey, so I got a question now. On baseball up. Everybody knows who Tim Hudson is, right?
I do know Timmy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
And
you
you're
know,
pitching coach now.
yeah, I'm going somewhere with this.
And you
So
know
you-
who his catcher was, right?
Well, let me go with this. Wes, quit interrupting me. So you know his son plays for Auburn High. Everybody knows this. He's a stud. Clearly, everybody knew his son was going to be a stud anyway. So Auburn has not even offered him a scholarship, but he says he's going to play for Auburn. How does that work? Can he just walk on?
He
He
can
can.
walk on. Yeah.
But his daddy's a coach there, so
So
I don't understand that.
Kumar Rocker's dad was a coach at
Don't he
Georgia.
get a free? Hold on. Don't he get a free ride?
No,
No.
Don't.
but he will get here's what he can get, because his dad did play at Auburn, and if it's like at Alabama, if you are a if you are a child of a former Letterman, they have a Letterman scholarship. They have all kind of things like that. Like, dude, like if you played for the Bear, there's a scholarship set up where you played for the Bear, and I'm sure they have one for like Shug and all those like
I was just
second-tier
wondering how
coaches
that
that
works.
you guys had. But
What's that other one? If a legacy scholarship.
that's what a
Yeah.
Letterman's a legacy.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he also, the reason they probably wouldn't necessarily give him a full like scholarship again is because it would hit toward their scholarships, and they could use that somewhere else.
It ain't like Tim Hudson couldn't pay for it. I mean,
He could, but that's also, how rich people stay rich? They don't spend their money.
Right.
well, I understand that too.
But as
So-
far as Auburn and their ranking,
I don't understand it.
Auburn lost a lot of talent off that team last year. Yes, they've been to Omaha the last 3 CWS,
They have.
but this team this year is nowhere close to that. And even Alabama started out 14-0 this year.
We were the last undefeated team in the SEC.
They were.
I'm waiting for conference play.
To give you an idea of how people view certain programs, 11.7 just did their projections today of the postseason tournament, and Alabama's not even in their field of 64.
That's crazy. Because
it is.
We're going to make it. We're going
In
to
the
do
end
it.
of the day, wasn't it you, Chris, that said LSU was supposed to be like it on a stick this year?
LSU has got Paul Skeens, they got Dylan Cruz, they got Trey Morgan, they got Christian.
And how many
Little.
games have they lost, Chris?
They got Thatcher. I think they've lost 1 game to Iowa. They are currently ranked number 1, and for
Yes,
good
I'm
reason.
saying they're number 1 in America, bro.
Look,
For good reason.
so let me ask this. I know it's off basketball, but do we three-peat, Chris?
What do you mean three-peat?
Three-peat national championship, SEC.
I mean,
In a row.
I don't
How
see
about them?
I don't see any reason why not.
Yeah, I mean, dude, there's so many teams in the SEC that could win the national championship.
I'm talking
Like,
about, do we three-peat? I mean, that's hard. Just in any conference. Has it ever been done? I don't think it's ever been done by a conference.
I think we did it.
Not in
I think it
baseball.
went Yes, I think it went Vanderbilt, South Carolina, Vanderbilt.
Did it, Chris?
It went South Carolina,
South Carolina won two. It went South Carolina. They
UCLA,
didn't go back.
Vanderbilt. Yeah, South Carolina went back to back. 2010, 2010, 2011.
And then UCLA won.
Then UCLA won,
So that killed a three-peat.
and then Vanderbilt won. Then Virginia won. Coastal.
Yeah.
Then 2019, you had
Look it up, Wesley. Because I don't think it's ever been done.
2019,
I
you
think
had
it has.
Vanderbilt. 2019, you had Vanderbilt. 2020 don't count. 2021, you had Mississippi State. 2022, you had Ole Miss. We've already three-peated as a conference.
Yeah, we are. I was about to say we just three-peated.
Okay, so we're going for a four-peat.
And we three-peated I told you, LSU, South Carolina.
Yep.
Wait,
So we three-peated that time.
okay. I was just saying it's kind of cool.
And then, hell, LSU damn near three-peated by themselves in the 90s.
Hey, look, y'all. Mm.
And Georgia didn't win the national championship. They lost to who did they lose to? They lost to somebody. Fresno State won that year.
I thought Georgia Georgia is one of the schools that has a College World Series championship. I thought it was 2008.
It was 1990. I'm telling you.
I got
I
you.
went to school there. Man. It was in the left field bleachers on the wall. It was on the wall.
Alabama, Georgia, LSU, Vanderbilt, Mississippi State, Ole Miss. I think are the only schools that have won a.
When did Alabama? Oh yeah, they did. That's right.
No, we didn't. No, we have not.
You didn't win a
Alabama
national title.
won one.
I
No,
thought you
no,
won in the 90s.
We have not. No. You know who beat us?
LSU.
LSU.
When the
You know
kid
how
went
bad
off, when the kid went off with like 4 home runs in one game.
So here's what kills me on that one. I moved to New Orleans that year as a freshman in high school. We beat them in the SEC championship 27-1.
That hurts.
They came and by the way, in 1996, the national championship in baseball, you only played one game.
Yep.
It wasn't the best out of 3. We were by far the better team. They scored 13 runs in the first inning and ended up beating us 13-8. That one hurt, guys.
Yep.
And I think we still have the most conference championships in baseball because we were really good in the 90s.
Yeah.
Actually, we were pretty good in the early 2000s. We actually played Oregon State as well when they went back. You want to talk about a program that gets forgotten about in baseball? They are damn good in baseball.
Every year.
They won back-to-back national championships in baseball.
And if not for Oregon State, Florida probably would have went back to back in 17 and 18.
By the way, if it weren't for Oregon State, Florida would be the only team to ever claim football, baseball, and basketball in the same year.
Yep.
Hey, you want to bring it?
Do what?
That Oregon State team was absolutely loaded, though.
Hey, so Wesley, I need you to clarify something for me. You're an Alabama fan, right?
I'm an Alabama graduate. Yes, I pull for my alumni.
Okay. So talking about Florida, I get tired of hearing Alabama fans tell me y'all made Tebow cry first. I get tired of it. Just gonna put that out there because y'all didn't.
You didn't make him cry first?
Yes, we did. Yeah, no. Auburn made him cry first in 2007 in the swamp when he got on his knees and he sat there and he wept like a baby because we went down there and we whooped that butt in the swamp. The same year they won a national championship. That's when he got off.
They won a national championship in 2007. They won in 2006 and 2008. So
okay, 2006 season. It's still the 2007 national championship. It's like 2023 this year.
You didn't beat him in 2007 either.
Yes, we did. Look it up.
Kenneth, let me remind you, it was Ole Miss that made him cry first.
It was Ole Miss.
When they beat Florida and Tim Tebow got on national TV crying and said, "I give it my all and promise this will never happen again."
Don't do that, Chris. That's one of the greatest speeches in SEC history.
It is. And
hey, look.
It was caused
go
by
look it
Ole
up,
Miss,
Wes. I thought Ole Miss beat them in 07-08 year.
Ole Miss beat them in 2008.
Okay. The first year Florida won the national championship with Tebow?
2006.
2007 national championship, though. It's the year after. Anyway, Auburn beat them that year.
Tim Tebow's freshman year was the year that they won
Chris
the national championship.
Chris Leak was the starter.
It don't matter. Tebow cried on the sideline.
Chris Leak was a starter, and they beat Ohio State with the jump pass, and Tim Tebow was a bench player.
He still cried.
And Ohio State ran the opening kickoff back for a touchdown, and they blew out Ted Ginn Jr.'s knee on the celebration because a dude piled on him.
Hey, you know what I do find funny though, Wes? Have you ever seen like how they rank like national plays, like from 1 to 100, like the best like games and plays?
Yeah.
I find it funny that Auburn and Alabama in football have 6 of the top 15. Just saying.
I mean,
I went and watched. I think this is awesome. As an Alabama fan, I take pride in watching when the other teams take over the SEC network. The majority of y'all's damn prideful games come
are
against
against
us.
Alabama. Yes.
Yes.
How many Heisman trophies from this conference were made against us? Johnny Manziel, Cam Newton, like you just keep going. It's like, come on now, like it looks better for you because we're good, not because you're good. It's because we're good.
So what gave Tebow the Heisman?
Tebow came back and, well, first off, Tebow got the Heisman the year he didn't win the national championship.
That's correct. Who did he beat that year? Y'all?
No, they didn't beat us in 2007. They didn't even play in the SEC championship. LSU won the national championship.
Oh, that's right. They went Florida, LSU, Florida. You're right.
Yeah, and the thing is, this
Alabama.
is how much the Heisman voting is garbage. Tebow in 2008 had more first place votes than the person that won. Because they do it on a point system.
And I'm going to take a shot. The year Bo Jackson won the Heisman Trophy, he sat out for 4 games and had fewer first place votes than Chuck Long did.
And the year that he won, and the year prior, he walked off the field and would be lambasted now because he quit on his team. He walked off the field in the middle of a play.
Yeah, I know.
And they criticized Sean Alexander because he got hurt and missed 1 game.
Hey, I will say this though about Alabama. I mean, I'm finally glad y'all got more than 1 Heisman Trophy winner. Y'all got 3 now, right?
We actually have 4 now.
Name them.
So you're little brother to us again.
Name them.
Well, are you really asking me to are you testing my sports knowledge, son?
Yeah, name them because I can only think of 3.
Well, you go with the youngest. You go at the time. He was the youngest Heisman Trophy winner of all time.
Okay.
Mr. Thunder Thighs, Mark Ingram.
Mark Ingram was your first.
Then you go with the daddy of all daddy running backs, King Henry.
Derrick Henry.
Then you go with the all-time touchdown leader by wide receivers in the SEC, Devonta, the Slim Reaper.
Oh, I forgot about Devontae Smith. Yeah, and then Bryce.
Then you go, and we got a quarterback, a wide receiver, and 2 running backs.
Yeah, I forgot.
What you want to say now, Auburn?
That's okay. We're gonna get us one. Tie y'all back.
But you can't get you won't be able to get one no more. You know why? Because everybody can pay players now.
Hey, y'all started it first. Don't make me go back to 1990.
I know. Hey, we started it. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. It's just y'all cheat and you don't win as much. That's what I like to tell everybody. Y'all want to bitch about us cheating. Y'all can all cheat, and you all did cheat. You just didn't cheat as good.
Yeah, it's pretty bad when you're cheating and you get caught on federal wiretaps investigating a bank.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying it's out there now.
Man, y'all had an alumni that bankrupted a bank, bro.
Yeah, we know. Twice.
Bobby Louder bankrupted a bank twice.
Hey.
And then you got old Yellowwood.
They got more than him.
Dude.
You got Tim Cook. I ain't gonna keep going.
You got one of the richest men in America, and y'all still can't buy no good players, man.
Who? Talking about Yellowwood? You talking about Yellowwood? You talking about Tim?
Well, actually, Yellowwood is the richest man in the state of Alabama, by the way.
Yeah, he just.
So
he's just an idiot.
Let me ask you, Wes. He said Auburn's got people involved in politics.
We do.
I'm gonna mention one name, and you tell me if you recognize the name. Dr. Bill Frist.
Mr. Frist.
Do you remember? Do you know who he is?
I do know who Bill Frist is.
Senate Majority Leader back in the 90s.
I'm just saying, it's all politics now. It ain't fair. Get them out of
What do
it.
you mean it ain't fair?
Get politics out of football. Sorry. I don't like politics. in
Now I
football.
will say
Sports is
this:
it.
if I was
What do you mean get
chancellor,
politics out of football?
Get it out of it.
if I were
What
chancellor,
politics?
listen to me, Kenneth, and I want you to hear me good.
Hey, turn your volume up, Chris. Can't hear you.
If I was Chancellor Dearmeyer at Vanderbilt, and Governor Lee showed up in my press box at a Vanderbilt game wearing Auburn clothing, I'd have jacked his butt straight out the door and told him to take a hike. You're not sitting in my press box wearing the opponent's colors.
Dude, so check this out.
And you ask how politics are not in football? Get out
So
of here.
check this out.
Get out of here, Will.
A buddy of mine, he works for Buffalo Rock, which is the largest Pepsi distributor in Alabama. And right now, Pepsi is the sponsor at Auburn, right? Well, my buddy Trent played football at Alabama and won a national championship at Alabama under Nick Saban. And he's one of the high ups in Buffalo Rock now and has to entertain clients at the Auburn games. He does not wear Alabama shit in the box. He knows better. I've been in that box and I was told, do not do it.
Yep, it's
politics.
if I'd have been Chancellor Dearmeyer, Bill Lee would have taken a hike quick.
Well, let me tell you how it actually works too. So when I worked for Coca-Cola, I had sideline passes for the Georgia Tech game, right? So I'm on the sidelines. Now here's the deal: I'm not even wearing either of those two schools' colors, even though I went to school at Georgia as well. I had my Alabama pullover on, right? Paul Johnson literally looked at me. He came over there during workout or warm-ups and looks at me and goes, take that shit off or get off my sideline.
That's funny.
And I looked at him and I said, fuck you, fat ass. And then I took it off so I could stay.
Anyway, that's kind of funny.
So I think we're planning on doing Monday night, right?
It's fine with me. I mean, I don't see doing it Saturday night because you still have Sunday to play.
Right.
And I don't see doing it Sunday night.
I think we should do a midweek one and a Monday one. We should
I'm
do
down for
something
that.
cool, like I said, and all of us have different broadcasts going behind us. And I'll do my best Dickie V impersonation.
Oh, God.
I'm down
It's
for
a
that.
double tandy, baby.
Okay. That's cool.
You guys just let me know what night you want to do it, Thursday or Friday, and we'll get that we'll get that lined up, and we'll
Hold on. I'll tell you when I want to do it. I want to do it Saturday night. Actually, when I get the time, I'll tell you when I want to do it. There is a reason I want to do it Saturday.
You want to do it during the Auburn game?
You're dadgum right.
I swear to God, as
Because
much as
I'm
an
gonna-
SEC homer, I swear to God, I hope that y'all getting y'all's ass kicked and you got to come on TV.
Look,
That
I
would be
hope-
hilarious.
He's gonna be sour as hell too.
who?
Yep.
You.
Nah, I mean I got Auburn losing to Houston. I'm fine with that. But I'm gonna tell you this: if Auburn, the one team that I pull for, kills my bracket, I'm gonna be mad. I ain't even gonna lie. I'm gonna be
He's gonna
mad.
go out on a limb, Chris. I'm gonna go on a limb that if Auburn loses, he's gonna be irritated.
He ain't gonna be
I
no
won't be.
matter. He won't be
No,
no
no,
matter.
no, no. I'll tell you. I'm gonna tell you what's gonna make me mad. I ain't worried about Auburn losing to Houston. I already kind of figured it would happen. This is what's gonna make me irate. Are you ready? If Alabama makes an early exit, I
I
will
thought you were going to say
promise you.
that you realize it only took a 17 on the ACT to get into Auburn.
No, if Alabama makes an early exit, like they've done 90% of the time before, I'm gonna be real upset.
Dude, everybody makes an early exit normally if you're not one of the blue bloods.
Look, Wesley, don't start.
You won't be any more upset than I was in 2012 when Vanderbilt was a number 5 seed and they got blown out in the first round game.
At least you
I remember that one.
That one hurt.
Ain't it you that
Yeah,
said
you know
that?
why? Because I had y'all pick going to and I remember that because y'all busted my bracket because I was like, you know what? Vandy's looking good. I like this team. I'm a Vandy fan. I blah, blah, blah. I actually like Vandy. I just bust Chris's ass. Like, I really pull for Vandy because they're the fucking little engine that could in our conference, okay? And then y'all busted my bracket because I had them in the Final Four.
And that ain't counting 2006, 2008, when
Valpo got you or something like that?
No, when we played Georgetown for a trip to the Elite Eight, and the big dude from Georgetown traveled and got the winning bucket.
We ain't gonna talk about traveling.
Was that
Stop.
Hashim to beat?
No, it wasn't to
Or
beat.
was that-
God, what was his name? I want to say George. I don't
Actually, I think
right.
that might be right. Yeah. No, I think that actually might be right.
Green was his
Yeah,
last name.
Okay. Well, speaking of traveling, anybody wants to be pissed about somebody traveling,
Don't
Auburn
say-
should have played for the national championship,
And
but they
like,
do travel.
Yeah.
hey, you know something though? If I really think
I was screaming in a Mexican restaurant, pulling for y'all, and I got my wife wasn't even mad at me. I knocked the thing of chips off the damn table because I was so pissed that they didn't call it.
hey, look,
I'm over there pulling for Auburn. I'm like, that's some bullshit, and I knocked the chips off the table.
hold on. You want to know something funny about that? Does anybody remember the press conference before that national championship? What that coach from the other team said?
No, who was that? Texas Tech and
Virginia. Do you remember what the Texas Tech coach said? And he
did Virginia win that? It was
Yeah,
Virginia. That was Tony Bennett's first national championship, right?
yeah. And he still ate his words that day. He said, I'd have rather played Virginia than I would Auburn. I'm glad they lost. And then Virginia steamrolled their butt. That's what they get.
Well,
That's what he gets for running his mouth.
well, not to burst your bubble or anything, but that coach that said that about Auburn, you get to deal with him now because he's in the SEC.
That's okay. His butt was scared to play us that year. I bet you if you get.
I'm making the prediction now. 3 years or less, Ole Miss is going to be a problem in the SEC.
Hey, I'm going to tell you
Ole
this.
Miss, they look solid. Speaking of which, did anybody see that Will Wade got a job?
I
I
did.
did. Hey, look, I got to go. I got to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning.
All right. Let me go ahead and end this real quick, and we'll get out of here.